What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Seller Club Podcast, episode number 5. Kenny, what's up?
Yo, what is up? I'm excited about this one. Anna, how are you?
I am so great. I can't wait to talk to you guys today.
So I have a little Q&A today, and a lot of little topics we need to run into, especially Boss Reseller Remix Recap, which you guys were in lovely Las Vegas.
Beautiful Las Vegas.
Yep.
And there's some stories though with that, which I don't even know where to start because there's a lot to unfold. So
isn't that the way of Vegas?
Oh, I know. Okay, so what should we do? Or do you want to talk about wins and woes a little bit, or where do you want to start?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about our weekly wins and woes. But before that, bro, what do we do every episode?
Oh no.
Oh no, Anna. We gotta drop that beat.
Drop that beat, baby. That's right. Let's do this.
Whew, that was a close one.
Yep.
Really close.
Really close. We gotta have that, right? That's ad placement right there. Just kidding.
Whoa. Kenny, you gotta settle down a little bit.
All right. So, okay, let me start with the weekly wins and woes. Personal and business, I guess, that's the cool thing about why we do this, and you guys get to know us a little bit better. Wins, I've done over 130 workout classes already. I didn't know that. So that was cool.
You're a machine.
That was cool. And this week, since I work out at Orange Theory, we have this thing we call Hell Week. And it's just a higher intensity workout. And I've done 6 out of the 8 so far. And we have one more day. And I've only missed one because I needed to rest. But I've burned 1,000 calories every class for Hell Week, so I'm feeling good. So that's definitely the win. Personal, business, it's kind of like our eBay business, in particular, is not doing too hot. I feel like it's that twilight zone before hitting Q4. So what we've been doing...
Was that twilight or toilet?
Twilight. Yeah,
because it's kind of both at the moment.
Yeah, it's a toilet light. That's what it is. Because we're just trying to double check our inventory, reorganize, making sure everything's cross-listed. So that's what we've been up to the last week. So, big W on the personal fitness goal. Woes is, business is kind of meh, What about you, Glenn?
Yeah.
Well, for those that are listening to the podcast, if you don't get like an actual image, you want to picture what Kenny looks like right now. His arms are, they're coming out of the shirt, definitely looking ripped. Getting those
I see some triceps in there.
Triceps, biceps, abs, everything right now. This boy is a machine. So I like that. This is definitely a big win for the little workout for Kenny. Wins and woes for Mr. Hacks. Let me see. Well, definitely a win. Me and my wife, anniversary. We've been married for 7 years.
7 years.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. Are these rookie numbers compared to my hosts?
Yeah, kind of ish.
Okay, go ahead. All right,
Anna just celebrated. How many years? 12. We just celebrated.
Actually,
10.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
We just celebrated 10, and then Hacks, you'll get there someday.
Yeah, I was gonna say Halloween is our 16-year anniversary of meeting each other, and we started dating like a few months after we met. So we've been together a long time, almost half my life at this point.
Oh man! All right,
I know.
I gotta get these numbers up there.
Well, congratulations for 7. 7's a good year.
7's awesome. Yeah.
All right, so that was my win. Woes. Would be a woe. I mean, I'd probably say just like energy level got a little low, which I saw one of the Q&A on as far as like, well, we're gonna get into that
Yeah.
too. As far as like, I don't know, getting into kind of like a little rut, I would
Mm-hmm.
say.
Yeah.
And I also talked about that on the Wednesday show, to where I was just kind of like, I was at the storage unit, and I'm like, what am I doing? What life is this? And that's
Storage
what
units do invoke those feelings, I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. I think it's included under rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. So I felt like I was just missing a little energy there. I was kind of like, oh
Yeah.
man, like I do need to get back into it, and we'll answer more, I guess, on the Q&A part. So Anna, let's see,
Awesome.
let's hear it.
Well, I also participated in Hell Week, but it wasn't the same one that Ken did. I was extremely sick for a week. And we're going to recap Boss Reseller Remix, which was absolutely amazing. But of course, I came home and promptly got super sick the day after I got home. So that was unfortunate. So for me, it's been a huge win to actually recover and get back into some of my regular activities. And kind of like you, Ken, too, with my store, it's still been pretty slow. And actually, I looked back. This is part of my neurotic data tracking that I have always done in my store. But I looked back at last year because I sort of felt like, oh, this is a familiar feeling. And maybe I should go check out the numbers before I panic about it, because October, usually, right, in many years past, it's like October is definitely the start of Q4. Feels like Q4. The sales, are Q4 level. And this year it has not been the case. It's still been pretty slow, just as slow as September was, really. And so, but when I started realizing that, I was like, oh, maybe I should go back, because like I said, this feeling is familiar. So I looked back at my numbers last year, and this is just how it was last year for me too. October was like dead compared to most Octobers before that. And November was when it like really all of a sudden picked back up and became Q4. So I'm hoping that that happens this year. I mean, I would have rather had a great October, but frankly, I didn't. It was pretty slow, and that's okay because I was traveling, and then I was like totally down for the count, sick for a whole week. So I'm not really too mad that things were slow, because it was easier to catch up on it once I got back in action. But I have taken the time to also just do some inventory maintenance stuff. There's been like 3 or 4 shelves in my basement that I call my basement since we moved, that I needed to like adjust the height of some of the shelves, and it's just a pain in the butt. And so 6 months later, I haven't done it still. So I finally did that, which has made my life a lot easier. It was one of those things that I struggled with all the time when I was pulling inventory. It drove me nuts. So that was really nice, and just kind of getting stuff a little organized. So yeah, I think it's been a combination of woes and wins, but it all works together.
For sure.
At least you have shelves. Just
Yeah,
Yeah.
Glenn.
I love my
No,
shelves.
Glenn.
Love my shelves.
I've seen a photo Glenn sent me. He has this like the Home Depot bins, and they're just
Oh,
like
yeah, those
stacked like
rugged.
8 high. So he gets his workout just by pulling out inventory every day.
Oh, for sure. I did that like when I had storage units in Georgia. I would stack, they were like 12 feet high ceilings or something, and I would stack the bins like 4 high on the top of the top shelf, and I'd be up on a ladder doing that like an idiot, but I don't recommend. I don't recommend. I'd only put lightweight
Yeah,
stuff
and
up
then
there.
put the most the highest selling product on the bottom.
Exactly. You got to
Exactly.
be strategic. Yeah, for sure.
all right, Kenny. So you wanna get into the little Boss Seller remix
For
little
sure,
recap
for sure.
on,
Yeah,
All right, go
I
ahead.
mean, it was an awesome time. It's my second time to be there. It's the Boss Seller Remix third year of doing it. One of my biggest role for being there was I hosted the Whatnot charity auction that benefited the Blind Center of Nevada, and you know, I'm glad to say, and I'm proud to say that we beat last year's record, and this
Yeah.
year we raised 11,757. So that was
Wow.
shattering
really,
records out here.
I mean, right?
Seriously.
That was very surprising. Anna know, because I was calling 10. I was calling 10 grand right before it. Um, and and I was super nervous, and like it was just a
Were
blur.
you? I could not tell you were nervous.
No, I
Yeah, this guy's
was.
a natural on the mic.
I know, yeah.
It's
He really
the
is.
the mic's just like my Superman mask or something like that. Once I have a mic, like it's just, but because it was really definitely bigger than the Hustle Bee or the brand or anything like that.
Yeah.
I really wanted to make an impact, and also to that exact day was our 10th year anniversary. So I was like, like this is something cool to celebrate, and I think it's gonna be talk about for years to come that we celebrated our wedding anniversary. Doing something bigger and better beyond ourselves. So that was great. But also
Hold
too,
on,
I think,
real quick. I had bookmarked that hoodie. Was it like a hoodie, right? It was like a
yeah,
custom, like
yeah, it's
eBay.
Yes.
eBay
That thing
hoodie.
was straight fire,
It
and I
was
was like,
super fire.
all right, bookmark. I got the bell. I was like, let's see what this goes to. I didn't even have a chance before you even
Oh
started.
my gosh.
That thing was already sky high.
That was
like,
the
oh,
highest
man.
seller, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Glenn was
By
like,
far.
you didn't even get to press the yellow button, huh?
Heck no, that thing was already sky high. I don't even know what it ended at. Do you remember? Or
Some like 28 or 25.
Yeah, it was. It was like almost $3,000, I think.
Yeah, I was like,
man.
I was like, because I was like escalating my voice at like 1500, and I was like, it's still going. I was like, how high can I go? And then my
Oh,
voice
yeah.
is just. But huge shout out to Fearless Finds, which is Angie.
Yes, Angie.
The crazy part is last year, she battled with me the highest sale, which was the Boss Seller Remix hat. And
Oh, yeah.
right after that, I won, and she said, "I hate you." So this year she won, and she was battling it with Theresa Cox, and Theresa just texted her, "I hate you."
So the cycle of hate continues. Like
Yeah, yeah.
But
so-
Angie decided she was going to be unstoppable, and
no,
she did
she
it.
wa- yeah she said she was gonna go after it, and
Yeah.
I know there were multiple people that said like whatever it took, but I think it just exceeded expectation, and
Oh yeah.
it was, I mean, overall it was good, so that was exciting.
yeah, yeah. That thing
I've
was
seen
cool.
you. I've seen both of you guys do, whatnot, but Ken, like being in person, seeing you live in action, hosting an auction with like a room full of 200 people was so fun. You're really good at it.
Yeah, see, this guy's a natural. He knows what he's doing.
Thank you. But it's definitely a lot harder when you have an online audience and an in-person audience.
I know
'Cause you have to
both. Oh
be-
my gosh.
Yeah, you have to be mindful for both. But
Yeah.
but that was it.
Ken-
Anna, like, tell us about your first experience of Boss Seller Remix. I mean, you weren't even supposed to be there, but apparently you made it there.
I got there. Yeah, it kind of like came about sort of at the last minute. It was really awesome. But yeah, one more thing about the auction though, I was just gonna say shout out to JC because man, she's like your right hand man, like
Yep.
managing everything and showing everything to the online camera while you're auctioning. She was like amazing as
She was
per
reading
usual,
my
but-
mind, because like, I mean,
Yeah,
she told you
yeah.
that Ken will just pull random things, and she wasn't joking, and she was behind it because you had to control
Yeah.
the back end to actually put it up there. So
I know she was crushing it, and you guys wangled me into helping a little
Yeah.
bit too, but I had like a very minor role, just kind of like scooting things around and kind of getting, prepping the next stuff that was going to be auctioned, but it was still nerve wracking for me, and I was like barely helping.
it was
so.
supposed to be like a 45-minute auction, and I think it went to like an hour and a half, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was-
it's not, you weren't like lollygagging at all. So.
And then everybody was bidding, like they
Yeah.
were like, it was fighting, so it was like, it just extended it, it was like, I mean, that just showed like that, coming from eBay Open, we always said like, like, let's rally together and let's
Yeah.
create, make positivity louder, and that was literally the example of it. And it was so cool that it just didn't happen on an eBay event, but this one is like a reseller event, and I think that was
Yeah.
a really good highlight. And also, talk to us about your how was it for you? I think that was
Oh,
your
yeah.
first seller event.
It was.
That was, like that's outside of eBay or something like that. How
Yeah,
how was it?
outside of eBay Open, it was really my first one ever, and it was really cool because now that I'm kind of more involved in the community and I have a lot more reseller friends from all over, there were so many people that I heard of or like was friends of my friends that I hadn't yet had the chance to meet in person that were there. So that was really cool, just getting to meet some people that I knew of and kind of had interacted with some on social media or whatever. But yeah, just the energy and like the warmth of that group was incredible. I was so excited to be there. And I had the privilege of going so that at the very beginning of day one, Adam Ireland, eBay VP and GM of US markets, and I basically got to do like kind of a mutual interview for about 30 minutes where we kind of reviewed a lot of the big announcements and big takeaways from eBay Open this year, since it just, it kind of had just gotten over with at that point. And I was also able to like ask him some follow-up questions and grill him a little bit about some stuff that, is up and coming from eBay, or just like questions that a lot of people from the community have had since some of these big announcements and stuff like that. So I think it went over really well. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. It's not my typical, highly polished, prepared presentation style, but it was really fun. Adam's wonderful to work with anyway, so he made it very easy. But that was really fun, and a lot of our friends that we know who work for eBay were also there, so we got to kick it with them. Also got to see Vegas, and
Your
do
first Fremont experience?
Yeah, first time on Fremont. I've actually been to Vegas a bunch, but never in that area, so that was super cool. Ate lots of really good food. It was just like, went to Red Rock Canyon. It's just one rock, right? The one, Red
multiple
Rock.
rocks or one?
Yes, there are multiple rocks, but that was really cool. So yeah, we got to film some really fun stuff out there, and we just like really made the most of it. I feel like we were just, living it up in Vegas. But yeah, the event itself was incredible, and I hear that they are doing the next one Q1 of 2025. Is that correct?
Yep. That'll be cool.
So
maybe we'll be able to drag Glenn in.
Yeah. Come on, Glenn.
Come on.
But yeah, it was really, really fun. And just, I did make so many great connections and learned a lot, and just was, it was nonstop. So I had so much to think about and reflect on while I was languishing in my illness the next week.
Oh, I know. That's only bad. They come back and you're like,
I know.
Oh.
But it was seriously so fun, and it was good to like have just had such a great experience. Because I mean, it would have sucked if I went out there and it was like okay, and then I came home and got sick for a week. Like at least it was awesome and like the best it could have been,
Yeah, and you got to meet so many new sellers.
I did.
As well, so that's always good to meet them in person. You have that relatable. I don't know. You can just talk business, and then people that understand your language is always good.
Totally. And I was really lucky because Ken and JC were there, and they already pretty much know everyone. So they were able to help introduce me to people that I wanted to meet if I didn't know them already. And, that's always nice when you can break the ice for me. I appreciate it.
True.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Got to capitalize on that for sure.
All right. Kenny, so next we're able to check out some of the people from different places that are listening to this podcast right now.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I think one of the cool things is, just different stats on where everybody's at. We've just celebrated that there's been over 500 downloads already. And, I think our goal is to just keep doubling up, every episode. Yeah. So that's our goal. But interesting stats that, we are 96% in the U.S., and the rest are in Canada, United Kingdom, Mexico, Australia, Germany, Puerto Rico, and Serbia.
Wow.
We got to get those Philippines numbers up.
Right. I know. Where's the Filipino support at, man? Come on.
Better work on that.
Huh? We have to. I mean, the number one, can you guys guess the city and state where the number one is?
City and state?
City and
gosh.
All right, if I had to guess, I'm going to say it has to be LA, California. Anna?
I have no idea. I'm going to say Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
No.
Tennessee?
It is the home of Wemby, San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio,
Serious?
great state of
Yeah,
Texas,
great
number
state of
one.
Okay, Glenn.
Texas. Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that. There we go, Texas.
Yeah, so
We're on
Texas
the map.
ranked
Okay.
number 1. You got Florida next, Ohio next. You got Illinois and California. So come on,
Wow.
California is actually our most in our Instagram, right, Glenn, and even in your YouTube as
And
well.
even on
probably.
the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
California.
okay. Interesting.
So,
Yeah, but there we go, Texas.
Texas.
All right, so
represent-
Ohio and Illinois better get it together and rep me and Ken.
I
over
know.
here.
I mean, Glenn's, obviously there, but not even our main, listeners and followers yet. So that's
Glenn
pretty
is
cool.
low key so proud right now. That
Oh,
Yeah,
this is
that's
Texas
winning.
made, Texas paid. That's what they say. So we're ready. We like that.
Is that really the state slogan?
No, but it can be.
Oh,
That is hilarious.
Glenn for state representative. Texas
First
state.
eBay, then the state, then the U.S., then the world.
It is
Alright.
cool that the other countries though, like that's a bunch
know,
of other
I
eBay
mean-
markets.
Serbia? Come on now. That
Yeah.
has to be Nikola Jokic or something like that, Glenn.
Who
Yeah, we
is
gotta
it?
bump up those Serbia numbers.
Yeah. We have to. I mean, worldwide, maybe that's our goal.
Mr. Worldwide.
Oh boy. Oh my gosh.
boy.
Well, I think it's very cool that we have listenership already so early on from like literally all over the world. That's amazing.
I mean,
I
you know,
hadn't even looked at that, so I'm glad you shared
we
it.
ship everywhere, and we get listened everywhere.
International
do.
shipping.
Yeah.
No returns.
No.
Yeah.
No
once you listen,
returns.
yeah, you can't go back.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
So also let's talk about, we've been very creative and strategic about our Instagram post. And Anna, walk us a little bit about the behind the strategy of what we've been doing lately on Instagram.
Sure. So, Instagram is kind of the best connection point at the moment for just this community that we were wanting to build with this podcast, which is a huge reason why we started it anyway. And I'm happy to report that it is already working. We have a really great following and community that's participating, that's kind of growing up over there on our Instagram account. And we're trying to really be intentional, like you said, Ken, with facilitating conversations. Like sometimes we might, be making posts where we're asking something silly like, what's your favorite snack? But just, it's just fun to like talk about that stuff, get to know each other a little bit on those more like fun, whimsical levels. But also we're creating content regularly. Like on Wednesday, we always share a piece of wisdom that's meant to kind of encourage you midweek and keep you going. And we're also, excuse me. I'm going to pause for a minute so I don't cough and you can just edit this out. Okay, sorry. And we're also doing specific posts like having a tip jar where you can leave a tip for another seller, or you can take as many tips as you want from the tip jar and apply them to your own business and your own life. We have Q&A posts that we will be doing regularly. So if you have a question about something, you might find the answer right there in the comments. Somebody, us or anybody else who's part of the community, might come and answer your question or give their take on it. But we're going to be collecting those questions and answering them on air. And that is literally what we're doing today in this episode for the first time.
Yep.
From our first Q&A post, we got some really great questions in. So
Yeah, for sure. So highly encourage everybody to participate and make sure, you get plugged in. I mean, it's a club. Like we said, it is exclusive, but everybody's invited. So first, let me ask the first question then. So the Q&A from our good friend Liz at Colorado Reworn asks, what has
Liz, we love
been
you.
your most interesting sale? So, Glenn.
Of all time?
all
all time.
Yeah, it could be all time. It could be, let's start with all
time.
time. Let's start with all time.
Oh, okay. Also, whenever we get questions, can they be like personal questions, or they have to be
They
research?
have to be whatever. Anything under
Oh
the sun.
man.
We
Any
can
and
veto
all?
them, though. If you don't want to answer it, no one can make you answer it.
Yeah.
Except Ken, I guess.
All right. So any and all questions are acceptable.
They
So
are.
throw them on an IG. We better see 1,000 questions next episode.
1,000
Just
questions.
kidding.
I like that.
Okay,
That's
let's
gonna
go back
take
to.
a long time to answer.
Oh, that's true too. That might be will be content for the next I don't know how many episodes. All right, most interesting sale of all time. I did mention this on a video a while back on YouTube, and that was Disney statues that I got at a garage sale.
This is wild.
Yeah, so this was really when me and my friend, he was getting married. He needed some extra money for his wedding. I needed to pay off student loans. We'd go to garage sales 5 a.m. every Saturday, and he had his truck, so anything we wanted, make sure it fit in the truck, not just whatever car I had. So we were ready to go. We stopped at this garage sale, and this guy had some Disney statues. There was like a Mickey Mouse one. There was a Dumbo one. They're huge. And he wanted 40 each. We talked him down to 20 each.
Because he also wanted them gone.
How big? I mean, like, give us
Okay, so-
perspective. Isn't it like 2 feet, 3 feet, or something like that?
No, the Dumbo one was, I think it was like 4 feet by like
It's
3.
tall.
It was huge.
No.
Yeah. It's
and
the one that-
heavy.
Isn't it
That's
the
like as
one
tall
that they
as
have in a
me.
Disney store, right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
what
like a
happened was
display.
exactly. So what happened was he had both of them there, and
Wow.
we're like, man, what could these be worth? We have no clue. We had no clue where they were from, and that's what he said. It was 40 each. And then we're like, would you do 20 each? And then he's like, yeah, I really want to get these out of here. He said
No
his
kidding, they're
daughters.
huge.
Yeah, they're huge. They're heavy. His daughter's already grown up. They didn't really have a use for them anymore. We didn't even know where to put them anymore. And they were part of the Disney store at our mall before they like redid the full thing. So during that time, like late 90s, they used to have pretty cool statues
Yeah.
and a lot of these props that they would have on top, like kind of like bordering the whole ceiling of the actual store, and also
Yeah.
in the front it would be in the glass area, and so that's exactly where they had them from. And he bought them, I think, pretty cheap because they were just selling off whatever
Yeah.
they had when they redid it and everything. So we cleaned up the Dumbo and the Mickey Mouse one. The Mickey Mouse one sold for $1,200. The Dumbo one sold for $1,800. And we had to ship that out, and UPS had to cover everything to make sure they had to package it because we're like,
Yeah.
I'm not, because if I just do something wrong, this thing breaks, I'm done.
Man.
But shoot, for $1,800, okay, yeah.
that's-
They
Yeah.
can package it. That's
I'm thinking you probably could have sold it for way more. But did it sell
Maybe.
quick? Did it sell quick?
Not really. I think maybe, you know what, the Dumbo one sold quicker than the Mickey Mouse one actually.
I'm sure.
The Mickey Mouse one stayed for a little bit.
A lot rarer.
Yeah, but we're also talking about a time where any money that I got back was like right into the business right away. So I was just kind
Yeah.
of like, I
That's
really needed that money to turn back
So
into getting some other items.
were you a YouTuber then? Not yet.
No,
Okay.
I wasn't doing videos or anything like
Man,
that. I mean,
you were-
imagine that, like,
Man,
thumbnail.
the views and
I know, like
get
wearing the
paid by
GoPro
views.
and go the GoPro getting in there.
You
but
would have been-
no, it's-
You would have been roasted because like, how can you lowball them? They're already
Oh,
asking
yeah,
40
definitely.
and you're like asking 20.
yeah, exactly. Oh, they would have definitely roasted me, but I mean,
That's a big W. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and to come to think that everybody thinks Glenn's like a sneaker seller.
he's just a sneaker seller. What
Sneakers
does he
and
know about
Dumbo.
Disney
What's
items?
up? That's so fun though. I love anything that's like really oversized or like really miniature or like a display piece. Like I love stuff like that. I actually have in my e-basement a thing that I refuse to get rid of, which I had originally bought to sell, but it's like a big like on wheels, like almost like quote unquote life size chocolate M&M, the chocolate M&M
Whoa,
girl
that's
with
cool.
glasses.
Oh,
But she's like a container, like it was full of bags of M&Ms in the store or whatever. But I actually had like 3 of them for the longest time, and I eventually sold the other two. I had the red and the yellow guy as well.
Mm.
But they were at Goodwill for like $12 or something, and I was like, these are so cool. I literally can't even eat chocolate and don't eat M&Ms, but I love her, and her glasses match my glasses, and she's like my sassy little sidekick. So
She's green, right?
no, she's brown.
Oh,
But
brown.
I'll never get rid of her. There is a green one, but
Oh.
this is the brown one.
Oh, this is
but
the
anyway,
brown one.
she's amazing. But yeah, I could probably sell her for a few hundred, and I just won't. Just keeping her
I
forever.
won't.
Yeah.
So what is your most interesting sale then?
Yeah, so mine is really lame now compared to yours.
No.
In terms of numbers, kind of. I don't know. I guess we could do the math on the like actual ROI percentage, but it was kind of similar. I was at a yard sale. It was like rainy and gross, and I was just like on the fence about even going, And I got a couple things. Actually got probably 6 things there that I paid $6 total, like $1 each thing. And I think I made, 15 or 1600 on that stuff because it was 2 like really creepy Italian clown baby dolls.
What?
But I could tell that like they were really high quality and they were vintage and they were in perfect condition. So I was like, these are terrifying, but I'm totally paying $1 for them. And then the main thing though was these 4 dresses, and I actually wrote this story about this story in my book because it totally blew my mind. But they're like this very specific vintage dresses from like the 70s. The ones I had were from the 70s, but they're Martha's miniatures, and they're from Texas actually. And there's apparently like a huge market for these. They're super intricate, frilly dresses for like they were like tutti. So for toddlers doing like pageants basically. And there's still like a crazy market for that. So like within 24 hours, or no, I had bought 5 of them and I sold 4 of them in 24 hours for over 200 each.
Man,
and I paid $1 for them.
So quick.
And I had no idea. Like, again, I just like saw it and was like, wow, this is really well made. And, I didn't do any research on my phone or anything in the moment. Like, I got home and was like about to log them. And then my eyes popped out of my head when I saw the comps. And I, of course, then stopped what I was doing and listed them immediately. But that was the quickest like flips I've ever really had. And haven't found any more of them since. But if I ever find them in the wild, you bet I will be buying them.
That is crazy. But let's go back to these scary clowns that you speak of. So did they sell?
They did. They both sold. One sold right away. One sold 3 years later, but still for the price I wanted.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So someone's getting alerts on scary clowns on their eBay notifications.
Search, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, one of the clowns, I think it was 3 years later. It was something, yeah, it was several years at least. But one of them, you can see it in my presentation from eBay Open this year, my high ROI presentation, because there's a part of the presentation where I go through my top 25 sales of 2022. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it sold in 2022. So it was however many years. Yeah. It was probably like 3 or 4 years since I bought it. But it's in like a picture and you can see it like hovering above my head behind me on the screen at one point, and it's really creepy looking. So it's immortalized there now. Yeah.
Crazy. So scary clowns.
Yeah.
Ken, it's the clown.
All right.
Ken, it's the clown.
I'm
your
not
most interesting sale?
I don't get scared of clowns.
You gotta answer the clown's question.
He doesn't even watch horror movies. Of course he gets scared of clowns. He won't even watch some of the basic horror ones.
I don't watch horror movies. I mean,
I don't either. Do you know why? Because I don't like being scared.
I get nightmares.
Is that so hard to understand?
I get nightmares. So.
Oh, so see? Okay, Ken, go ahead.
Oh.
The clown's not fazed by you.
All right. So, one of my best. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yes.
Right? I remember way back when we started, I walk into Goodwill. I'm not lying.
That was it. He walked into Goodwill.
I walked into Goodwill, and I found this yellow tennis rackets, and I looked it up. It was Jimmy Connor's tennis racket. I actually just still have the email because I was like looking at it. So bought it for like $7.99 each, and there were it was a pair,
Oh,
um,
okay.
and sold one for $249,
That's dope.
and that's when I said I'm not going back to Goodwill anymore.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. This guy didn't even go back to thrifting. He went complete opposite. He's like, I'm
He's
gonna
like,
use
no,
this money for
that's just
retail
not good
arb.
enough.
That was
Yeah.
no, I was like, this is bad. This is addicting.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
said,
It is.
I said I cannot. No, my brain was like triggered. It's like, there's no way you can build a system around it.
Mm,
So, but yeah, that was interesting. So, for anybody, just call me a sneaker reseller. Uh, beyond that, I'm beyond that.
Be- He's got more
that's
to offer.
hilarious. You guys
Yeah.
are like secret thrifters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we just we just haven't really put it out there. I'm just joking.
I think that if, I guess because I have a system in place right now with the items that I do sell, but thrifting, garage sales, and swap meets are like the funnest because you don't know what you're gonna
Yeah.
find. When you go to retail arb, you pretty much know what they're gonna have more or less. I mean, everything's brand new. If it's past season, maybe the past 1 to 3 years, but thrifting, anything else, I mean, something from the 80s could show up, something from the 90s could show up. You
Yeah.
have no clue, and that's what makes it fun. And
Yeah.
I think if I had more of like you know what, maybe if I had more time, less responsibilities,
If you had a
and I could
lister,
really be, you know what, that too,
if
and
you
just
had a
like a
lister,
fun.
if you had a shipper, if you have a person that takes photos, you'd be just
Okay,
You're
you
just
know
the
what?
every day.
sourcer.
Yeah, you know what. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Maybe sourcing is the funnest part of this whole thing, but
It is interesting though. I actually really enjoy shipping, but I always say that sourcing and shipping are the most fun parts. And I mean they are,
Yep.
but I also think like, and maybe this is different a little bit for you guys since you aren't. There is still the thrill of the hunt, right? When you're looking
Yeah.
for retail
There
art
is so.
items.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I love that. Like I feel like it is a little bit more intense of a thrill of the hunt when you're out looking at everywhere, anywhere and everywhere, right? For like whatever, like you never know what you're gonna find. That's part of what keeps it really interesting for me. But I guess if you guys were in some kind of a rut and you needed to like, shake it off and get out of your usual, like then you could just take a day and go thrifting and have that, as a palate cleanser for all the stuff that you regularly do.
Well,
True,
perfect
true.
segue to our next question from Matt
Oh,
Kimball.
well, how about that?
Not for my society. We met him at Boss Lotta Remix.
Yes.
Um,
Also a podcaster.
Yep, we did a podcast with him. I'm proud to say that I've made my perfect elevator pitch. Oh, elevator introduction on his podcast.
Yeah, you did. You crushed it.
And Matt, if you're listening, I still need a clip for that so I could use it. But he asked, "How do you guys get the funk out when you hit those ruts? How?" And as Anna mentioned, right, a palate cleanser.
Palate
What
cleanser.
do you do? What do we do? Glenn, you've mentioned a little bit on the intro. Expand a little bit more, or what are the process
All right,
that
so
you
you're in
do?
a rut. You don't know what to do with yourself and your business. And usually you know what, I think the most common answer would be go work out or go do something to take your mind off of things. The way I look at it is this inventory is not going to go anywhere unless I do something with it.
Yeah.
So as much as I would like to take a break and not think about it for a while and do something else, I kind of just try to approach it a little bit differently to be like, hey, maybe this is a lot going on. Let me just focus on something individually and not try to take on everything all at once. So when I was telling you guys in the very beginning that I was kind of like at the storage unit, what
Yeah.
is this? What helped me was when I looked at some of the bins and I have a ton of hats to list. I'm only gonna focus on these 2 bins only. They're already sorted. And I'm only gonna focus on taking photos. I'm not gonna think about the shipping part of it and the things I still have to ship. I'll worry about that some other time.
So
Which is kind of funny because the next day I have to ship it out.
You're
But-
like, I can delay it a
I
little
know.
while.
so you
I'm not gonna think about
so
listing.
You simplify
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
mentality.
I just had to simplify
And
it.
focus.
Yeah, just focus on that individual task at hand. And it just helped me not to worry about so many other things that go along with it. And so I think it made it a little bit simpler to tackle, I guess, like
Yeah.
that at hand. Because, yes, I have to get to it at some point, but don't drain myself by trying to do everything. So that's what helped me kind of get out of it and just take it step by step.
So besides the mental aspect that you do, right? Because literally you command your brain to think simpler, not worry about stuff that's
Yeah.
not important.
It's a
as of the- yeah.
perspective shift. Yeah.
Do you do anything like physically? Like, do you go to the gym? Do you go eat a donut? Do you buy a toy? Or do you like buy a new pair of sneakers? Like, what is that? Like, come on, give us some tangible things.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's like I go to the gym 5 days out of the 7
Yeah.
days. So going to the gym is
It's
not
not
really going to be
a-
anything new to me.
It's
Okay.
not a
Um,
change up.
Do you do anything new at all? Or are you just a robot?
I think I'm just a robot because
He's a machine.
because even the answer of going to go watch a movie,
Right. No.
I can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I feel like this is like an ongoing issue that I feel like I need to like tackle it, and I'm like, it needs
Don't
to
worry.
get done. But
We're going to get to the addiction issue.
I
Yeah,
know.
The addiction
we're gonna
episode.
talk about it, Glenn. We're gonna have an
Well-
episode dedicated just for that.
Not to like joke about addiction, but seriously, I think though, Glenn, like, I think we're similar in this way that, like, productivity is extremely satisfying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the problem was not that you don't want to do work. It's just that you bit off more than you could chew. And that's why you needed the perspective shift. Like, I like to think of that as slicing it thinner, right? I have like a chronic to-do list that never is humanly possible to get done in a day. And I end up rolling stuff over to the next day. And, sometimes that's fine because that's the norm. And I'm aware that it's not humanly possible to do everything on the list in one day. But sometimes, it feels like it's hanging over my head. And I do the same thing. It's like, I want to like have a satisfying, productive work day today. But when I look at this list or when I look at this pile or whatever, it's too much. It's like overwhelming. So if I can just like reframe that for myself and slice it thinner, then I know I can accomplish it. And I know that it will then be able to be gratifying because I actually achieved my goal and didn't like needlessly throw myself at an unachievable goal and then feel like not satisfied even though I did all the work anyway. So I think that's like, you didn't necessarily need to change what you were doing as so much as you needed to adjust your expectation of how much of it you're going to do. Does that make sense?
That's very true.
That's very well explained. Well,
Yeah.
sounds like these two are the more mental co-hosts here, and I'm just the.
I was going to say, however, I will drop everything and go to the gym or bake something if I'm really stressed. So I do both.
Okay.
There's changing your physical location or like also engaging with people, right? Like, okay, I'm going to go like hang out with my sister or do something or, go have a cup of coffee with John on the porch and totally break from my workflow what I'm doing and shift it. Yeah.
So that's where I come in, where I just have to remove myself from the situation, or AKA change of scenery.
Go to Florida.
Go to Florida, always a thing. We get cheap flights and we actually just go backpacking, and we set a budget and that's it. And either if we blow it on the first day, we eat dollar cheeseburger for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
But that always helped me so much. And I think it changes through the phases and the seasons. At one point I was I drove a lot just to clear my head. So we have this 275 loop, what we call, and I would drive around the loop, and it's like an hour and a half loop, and I would just go drive, and sometimes I would listen to like very calming music. I would open my windows and I would just do that. And a lot of times this happens at night. I don't know. It's just, I guess that breeze just changes something. The other thing is I would always tinker into something different, which is like technology based. So whether it's like a new gadget, a new camera gear and stuff like that. So those are two things that literally is different from business and reselling. Like total opposite. I would watch that. We like to binge watch. Unfortunately, we would binge watch series and movies to just kind of like catch that break. So I think I do that those things in extreme, but
Yeah.
right after that I hop in. I hop in the train really quick.
I have trouble like I love productivity in like every arena. So even a lot of the creative stuff I do, like it's hard for me, for example, to just sit down at my piano and play for the heck of it and not be like working on a song or practicing for something that is coming up or whatever. Like it's hard for me to just sit down and like just enjoy it because I'm so like oriented to being productive. But even within that, I have other creative projects that I work on regularly. I'm the co-author of a business called Madrigal Mavens, and we write madrigal dinner scripts that is like dinner theater from the Renaissance. Shows every year. We have like a huge catalog of them. We write at least one new show every year. And so usually, even if I still want to be productive, but I'm kind of like burning myself out on the eBay store, I can
So you
like
hop into
switch.
a different project.
Yeah, I can switch
Okay.
gears over to like writing lines in Elizabethan English for an hour or whatever and kind of like change up how I'm using my brain, but still be making progress on something. It's like I think we do ourselves a disservice when we decide that everything, we're constantly evaluating everything and deciding if it's good, bad, right, or wrong, right? And it's not necessarily good, bad, right, or wrong, but we can feel it when we're going like too far in one direction or the other. So like, okay, I'm not going to say, you know what, it's bad that I love productivity so much. I'm just going to like accept that I love productivity and then find a healthy way to shift it over to something else that's going to help me and like meet my needs and help me not burn out, help me out of the rut. So you don't have to just like shut down those things either in order to address them. Sometimes you can use them.
Well, there you go. So we just shared multiple ways of
Yeah.
overcoming or getting out
Thanks
of a
for the
rut.
question, Matt.
Yeah, you could just change your mindset like Glenn and does the same thing. You could switch it up like Anna, find a more productive other different project to work on. Or you could just like me, just unplug and just go somewhere else random. So there's a lot of ways to do that. So on to our next question, an easier question: what platforms do you guys sell on? And let's start with Glenn. What other platforms do you guys sell on?
So eBay is the main, and then Whatnot. I try to do shows at least 2 times a week, and then everything is cross-listed from eBay to Mercari. I started Poshmark. I've only had maybe like 3 sales on Poshmark. I didn't really get to cross-list everything I wanted to. And some Amazon, but I kind of stopped on the FBA side. But I still do have t-shirts on the Merch by Amazon side.
Oh, cool.
And that is
You do Goat?
it.
You still have Goat? No.
Oh yeah, Go. I do have shoes on Go, not as much as I used to, and then StockX I was on there for a good while, and then I really don't have too many like brand new with box. So, yeah, those are part of it as well.
Anna?
Nice. Me to go next?
Yep.
Well, pretty much eBay. Although now that I think about it, technically I do sell on Amazon because my book is self-published, which is about my eBay store.
True.
But
true.
it is available on Amazon. They distribute it. They print and distribute it. So even the ones, if you go buy it from me on eBay, like that's an author copy that I ordered from Amazon. So I'm just making it available on eBay because obviously it's like makes sense. But yeah, so that's the only thing I sell on Amazon. But
All right.
everything else is eBay. And I have actually am working on pushing my eBay catalog of listings over to
She's
list
trying to cross
perfectly.
list. She's trying to cross
Yeah,
list.
I want to experiment with it with, certain like vintage outerwear and stuff, maybe for Etsy or Poshmark. So I haven't made it to that step in the process yet, but I do want to kind of tinker with that next year. But I feel like at the end of the day, like eBay is my home and I'll always be there for the vast majority.
All right. So currently, for us, me and JC, we sell on eBay. It's our main platform this year, and then we are cross-listed to Poshmark, and then we sell on Goat as well. So, we've sold in a lot more platforms the previous years. I think this year kind of like again, taking this year as like a breather kind of year. So 3 platforms for us seems to be more manageable and easier. So
I have a question, Ken.
yep.
You may or may not know this off the cuff, but I feel like we talked about it at some point before. Just like, not on the podcast necessarily, but eBay has like by far the largest buyer base, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Out of all the platforms.
Yeah, we've talked about well, not including
Not
Amazon,
Amazon, but
not including Amazon,
Yeah.
right? But eBay is next after Amazon, and then we discussed this, Glenn, right? That Poshmark
Poshmarks.
next, and then Mercari is next. But
Okay,
Poshmark
cool.
and Mercari is significantly way less. Not
Yeah.
even 10% of what eBay has.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
And
combined.
I mean, I always just, I've always been on eBay, so I've never like paid attention to that.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing you talk about that
Yeah,
before and being
and-
like, oh, dang, I didn't
Yeah,
realize.
and you feel it, like you really feel
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for traffic purposes.
Sure.
So on to the next. Is there any specific way to get better quality photos on eBay? So Glenn and Anna, anything that you guys do differently?
So,
You have taken
use
your
my-
photos the same, right? Over time?
well, here's a problem. I was using an older phone and I loved it because it was quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, quick, upload it, done. And then I had an issue with, well, you know how it is with some of these products. It's like once a newer one comes out, things start slowing down. Things don't
The
want to work
iOS doesn't-
anymore.
yeah,
I see
yeah.
what's going on here. And so now I'm having like a bunch of problems with this older phone that I never had before. Now I'm using my current phone to take the pictures. I'm not going to lie, the quality is a lot better. And even the lighting is a lot better too, which so that did help me there. But I
Yeah.
would say, look, because people, they use different things. Maybe they don't use their phone. They actually do use digital cameras,
Right.
and the quality might be way better to do digital camera than actual phone. Which I wouldn't mind trying that and also see how they upload. If they upload a little bit quicker as
Yep.
well. So I know people that do use digital cameras. That might be the way to try that out first if you're not doing that right now.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have a super helpful answer for this one. I've always just used the phone that I have, which, right now I think my phone is like a 2022 model. So it's like pretty good, but I don't know about the compression issues. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't really noticed that, but I guess for me, anything about my listing process is like not perfectionistic. And so if it's like good enough and it's like, good quality, it's going to make the grade, then I don't really care if it slightly changes and I probably wouldn't even notice.
So a lot of it is, technical aspect. You have to have good lighting. That's number one for sure. You can always make a better photo on an older phone with good lighting, and also matching lighting, because a lot of times you have different temperature light on your photo area, even your just ceiling light and stuff like that. So one of the things that changed a lot is we converted everything in our beehive, which is our basement, to daylight temperatures, which is
Yeah.
5600 Kelvin. So that's number one. Number two is a lot of the smartphones right now within the last 2-3 years take really good photos already. The only reason why it could get compressed is if you're sending in too high of a quality. That's the downside. So you might, I don't know the tech specs currently, but if you go like ultra high quality um, on a very big file, the system downgrades it. I know that for a fact because that's the same thing as Instagram. Even if you upload a 4K video, they would always downgrade it to 1080, H2 only HD quality. So it's easier to actually just submit HD because there's no compression,
It won't
because
change. Yeah.
compression always makes it look worse than what it is. So that would be the one thing that I could recommend. Check your settings. That way
Yeah.
you're not. And then maybe there's should be like parameters. I'm sure eBay provides. But for us, like just the regular phone photos, there's no compression.
My friend Lisa Pegram, amazing. She is from Carolina Girl Eclectic on Instagram and has an eBay store. She's been crushing it. She loves to sell vintage jewelry, and so she wants to know what is our longest listed unsold vintage item and what vintage items sold the fastest. And I kind of wanted to run ahead on this question because my answer, I pretty much already told the story about those Martha's Miniatures dresses. That was hands down my fastest selling vintage item. I will also say that I literally still have things listed from that I originally listed 7 years ago when I started, or 6.5 years, I guess, almost 7. That were like things that I found right out the rip as I was doing my first 500 items. Like there's a handful of items that still haven't sold that are vintage. And so the absolute oldest item that I have in my store is a sealed floral pack of note cards, like blank note cards from the 80s. And it hasn't sold, but I bet it will someday. So it's just sitting there minding its own business, I guess. But what about you guys? Because, mostly you're known as sneaker sellers, but like, how does this question apply to you?
Well, when I did the garage sale stuff, me and my friend found like a huge lot of like vintage, 90s like snapbacks, and a lot of those hats was like Charlotte Hornets and Raiders and
Older teams.
older teams and things like that. And during that time, that's when a lot of the vintage stuff was like coming back, and people were just vintage snapbacks and stuff. It was like perfect timing. And so that stuff did sell right away. So that helped. As far as like things that just didn't really move, I know I had some jerseys that I did find, and they took a while. And the reason why was because like maybe they were like a kid's XL or like a kid stuff. It didn't really move, or maybe like I noticed some of the ones that once you get home, you wash them, you look at them like, man, maybe these stains weren't the best. And so that's usually the stuff that was vintage that would take a long time to sell or didn't even sell. So
do you ever just get rid of stuff after a while?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You do?
It just goes I'll just donate it, or if for some reason we ended up having like a garage sale or something, then I would just sell it there and go for cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to, get that stuff out.
So technically, my oldest item was listed in May 7th, 2020. It is a Fry boots.
Ooh.
Got embroidery on the side. Retails
dang.
for 358, but it's a women's size 6. So out of the all women that I know, that's literally only JC and 13-year-old niece that wears that size.
Yeah.
So it's just a terrible size. Yeah, and I bought a bunch of them, so this is the only one that's left. So
okay.
yeah, and then I'm looking at the other worst ones are just bad sizing. Like extra small jacket for women, so it's kind of like, it's more like preteens sizing and stuff like that. So I think those are the reasons why they haven't sold yet, and I will not be picking them up again.
Yeah. See, that's where I'm like, okay, great, but if I guess because I don't mind storing it,
Yeah.
like, and I know this is like a debatable topic
Yeah.
for sure. And I definitely did cull some stuff out of my inventory when I was getting ready to move. That's really the only time I have though, because I'm like, yeah. And then also like with the clown doll, if I had gotten rid of that 3 years later, I wouldn't have made $200 on it.
Yep.
True.
So it's like, I can wait on certain things. I mean, some things are only ever going to be so valuable, but for something like that, like that's a high dollar boot. You're just waiting for that right person. You're waiting for Cinderella to stick her foot right in that
Exactly.
slipper.
Exactly. So I guess one of the last questions is a little bit more technical.
Okay.
Do each of you feel that opening an eBay store is worth it, versus just listing only in the free amount that eBay gives you? Shout out to Ali. Oh, all
Oh,
elite finds. All
yeah.
elite finds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Anna, why don't you dive in deeper to that, and we could discuss it.
Yes. So my initial thought about this is that there are more benefits to having a store subscription than just hitting
Free.
the threshold
Mhm.
where your fees are better, right?
Mhm.
So like if you're only listing a few things, maybe it's really not worth it. But some of the things that having any level of store subscription will help you with are getting to basically have a home base and like an actual store that people can visit online. You can kind of build your brand there. You can talk about your store, and you can use things like newsletters and coupons to kind of engage customers more. So if you really see your business more as a store, I think those things can be really helpful. And then there is the other side of the coin, like you get Seller Hub and everything too. So like you
Yep.
have all these tools and like a different back end of eBay that has a lot more stuff for you to use, which is great.
I think that alone, having
Yeah.
access to Seller Hub,
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
such a really big thing. Because I think me
Yeah.
and Glenn discussed this multiple times way back. It's just having access to Seller Hub is already it. I think.
Yeah. Well, especially when the smallest starter store is $5.95 a month or $4.95 a month. It's
$4.95.
like
It's
it's literally
$4.95.
$5 a month. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's worth it. The next level up is like 20-ish.
21.95. So the first
Yeah.
level is you get 250 listings a month. So
Yeah.
that's already a pretty decent sized store.
Yeah.
And for me, for the longest time, I've just had this premium store,
Mm-hmm.
because of like the 1,000 listing store, something like that, and then you're not paying any insertion fee after that, because
Right.
there was a point, the 1,000, you get 1,000 a month on a basic store, but if you go over that, you're paying 25 cents a listing. And
Right.
at one point we had 2,000 listings, so we just pretty much just jumped to a premium store.
Right.
But I think we could tell everybody that you can go to ebay.com/seller center, and then if you click payments and fees, you can click on subscriptions and store, and it actually has a formula. It has an interactive that you can click. It asks you which eBay store option is right for me, and then you can click how many times do you plan on listing each month. Then it would actually suggest what would be the perfect store. And also too, don't be afraid, because you can downgrade and upgrade as your store grows as well, or
Yeah.
goes down.
You can, and the larger store sizes also come with more dedicated customer support. So it also kind of depends on what type of business you're running and if you need more customer support than what's, regularly available. So that's another huge value that's built in once you're at those higher levels. But yeah, I think you just need to consider your own situation and ask the right questions to figure out, which one might be worth it for you. But I kind of agree with you guys, like just the having Seller Hub and having the discounted like fees, and it's on both sides. The listing fees, if you go over your allotted amount, also the final value fees are lower, and it's all across different categories, and they have like a whole breakdown on all that on the website also. But if you're going to be listing the number of listings that will make your fees cheaper, then it's definitely a no-brainer. But even if not, it's probably still worth it to do, at least the starter or basic, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, because even before they didn't have that $5 option, and
Right.
that one actually is very 250 listings. That's
Yeah,
a month.
that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Glenn's already thinking that's a listing a day.
It's like, Anna, do you want to flex on what kind of store you have?
I actually just have the premium's the third one, right?
Okay,
And then
yeah, premium,
Anchor and
yeah.
then Enterprise. I actually just have premium because even though I have over 10,000 listings, there's also been like an ongoing promotion for a long time about collectibles categories. So I have, and the way that my stuff is all listed, about half of my inventory is my regular like premium store listings allotment, and the other half is all an additional free 10,000 listings in collectibles categories.
Oh,
So yeah, so I really have
Yeah.
like 20,000. So I don't need to go any higher than that right now.
Well.
But before they actually changed all the structure of that a few years ago, and I did have an Anchor store before that.
yeah,
And I
Anchors.
got more.
Anchor.
I got like back then I think I got $150 or something, a quarter of free shipping supplies. And now that I don't need Anchor because of my size, I only get like 50. But
Yeah, guys.
it's still awesome to get $50 a
Used-
quarter of free.
Well, it used to be
shipping
Anchor
supplies.
is the biggest store subscription, like $300
Yeah.
a month. But
Yeah.
before, that was the only way you can get eBay concierge or like a dedicated customer support. That
Right.
they actually call you. You know, like you hit a button, call me, and I think they promise within 2 minutes they
Yeah.
call
2
you.
minutes.
Yeah,
It was
within 2
awesome.
minutes. So that was the biggest feature I think that's worth it.
Right.
But that's really cool that they're doing some unique different things from premium for Anchor store. I mean for
Yeah.
collectible category. I'm
I
sorry.
know it's
For
been
collectible.
there. That's been a thing for a while, like well over a year, I would say, but and maybe even longer. But yeah, I was paying $300 a month, and now I pay like $60
$60
a
yeah.
month.
Mhm.
So like I'm really not complaining too much about the shipping supplies keep on being less, but I still get great customer support, and I still have all the listings I need and have cheaper fees. So yeah, I like it.
There you go. Well,
There you go.
any other topics, Glenn, that you want to discuss, or any questions, or any weird things that you want to talk about?
No,
before
I
we
like
this
to
one?
end on that store subscription because I think it's really important. But I agree. Go to the site and really test that out to see. A lot of it has to do with how many listings, how many products you have, how you're growing as well. I mean, everyone's at a different pace. So you really have to figure out what's best for you. But even some little, tricks in there. I mean, I didn't even know about like the collectibles and things like
Yeah.
that. So obviously, it also depends on what you're selling. So
Category
Yeah.
specific stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So no, that was a good point.
Yeah, and you can find that just as a reminder, ebay.com/seller center. They have a whole section on payments and fees, and within that there's subscriptions and fees that gives you all the breakdown of that stuff and the interactive thing Ken was talking about where you can go answer some questions and plug in your own scenario and it will
Pretty
help you
customized.
decide.
Yep.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
go
so
check
if you
it
guys,
out there.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, I'm actually was browsing it earlier. The seller center is actually pretty nice compared to what I envisioned it before. It's been a long time since I visited this site. So if you guys, want to explore a little bit more, take advantage of any feature that our subscription has or what they have to offer, which is, sometimes free listing on selling a different category. But well, guys, we're at the hour mark, and I think we answered a lot of questions. And keep sending your questions in. We did dive in a little bit deeper in most of them, but guys, we appreciate your time, and we will see you on the next episode. My name is Ken.
I'm Glenn.
I'm Anna.
See ya.
Bye.
Peace.